Assalamu alaikum. Hope you are well. I'm very excited today because whenever people talk to me, I always talk about either 𝐷𝐾𝐿 or either Muscus. A lot of people even ask me, have you ever been to Salalah? And it's been like 13 years in Oman, but I haven't been to Salalah yet. But today I'm very excited because the person I'm going to talk to, I think he's going to really help us in understanding Salalah. He moved from UK to Oman, so we're going to know now that why did he decide to move from UK to Oman, what is the Salalah story, what is happening actually in Salalah. So I'm really excited about this podcast today because of this gap which I always had got, but I believe now that it will gonna be gone very soon. So thank you so much, Waqar Saab. It's been a pleasure having you on this podcast. And before we move ahead, if you can introduce yourself, that who you are, what you have done previously in your life, and why did you come to Oman? So then we can proceed further.
Sure, Waqar, as you said, I'm sort of, I guess, brought up in London and UK. All my life I've spent there, educated there and everything, and all my career and my work has all been in London. I left London just under 2 years ago. My background is that I have a mixed background. I'm partially from the finance background in fintech finance, investment banking, private equity, that sort of background, which I gained both in the UK and in the GCC. And I'm also a filmmaker, so I make films. I have a film production company, also direct films and documentaries in various parts of the world. And I'm also a writer and of novels published, and I write a lot. So that's a little bit about me.
I think this is quite a lot because you're a filmmaker, you also write, you have published some books, plus you have got a lot of experience in finance. So how these two things work together? Because generally the people who are really into creative side of the world, they lack the finance side of it, and the people who are really into finance side, they lack this creativity part. So how does this rare combination works?
Yeah, it's an interesting question. I do get asked that. How do you, because it doesn't work, people don't get it, they can't understand how you can make that connection. But Mohsin, that if you're blessed with creativity, you can actually put your mind to anything because you've got that ability to build, create, design, and think outside the box. So most of my work in finance was from very conventional finance within the sort of Sharia space. But and I'm sure some of your listeners know Islamic finance, that it's actually very, very sort of vanilla. There's no idea, there's no uniqueness. It follows the same model of what I call hybrid Islamic finance, where it's very much, and I may get in trouble for this, but it's very much based on the interest model. Then they change the words around a bit and it becomes Islamic finance. And I really wanted to apply my creativity and ideas and thinking with the team that I have and our company to see if we could find an innovative way to develop Islamic finance for homeowners to buy homes. So that's really where my creativity and that of my team and people I work with was how we can change that model, how we can disrupt it and innovate it. So that's where the creativity comes in. But that's a long story.
Yeah, it's very, very inspiring because I myself come from a very creative background. Although I'm an engineer, I've studied engineering, and then I spent 10 years in telecoms, and then I moved into the creative industry, which I thoroughly love. But finance was always been like, is it like very exciting? Is it not exciting? Shall I learn it? Shall I not learn it? But in last, I think, course of 6 to 7 years, when I started working on GCC real estate, I think that was the time when I really started understanding the core economics and the core principles. And then I realized that how many mistakes I made previously when I was investing money in different part of the world, even in Pakistan, in UAE, and in UK. And to be very honest, I lost money because of my very little understanding of the finance and how does it work. But I think COVID was also a very good trigger in order to push people towards it. And they say, if you do not understand your finance, you cannot survive. So now when I look at it, I think this thing at least changed my mind and now I'm educating everybody, even my kids and my wife, and you're talking about a lot about how much you're investing, where are you investing, either shall we invest in the real estate, shall we invest in Bitcoin. At least the discussions being started, and this is, I think, which is such a good thing. We should have done it earlier on, but better late than never scenario. So no, I applaud you for that.
What you do, it's the right thing to do. Kids have to learn this sort of stuff much earlier than we think, not when they're grown up and missed the boat. They need to start at a very young age. And one of the things that I do is I make a children's film animation. We have a serial, and we try to bring creativity into it. And that's at the age of 3 or 4.
Wow.
We want people to be creative. So we're creating, we have an animation which gets kids to think outside the box and be creative. But I think as a parent, you're doing the right thing. Start early, because they are very sharp kids these days.
Yeah, the exposure they are getting, in our days, only few people were our teachers, our parents, our teachers, plus a few cousins, and the neighborhood. That's it. But now the whole world is their teacher, and there's nobody in between. So whatever they want to do, they can do it. But it's just a matter of talking, the right topics at home, on a regular basis, which is a rare thing to happen. And I think now, after listening to all of that, I think we need to do, individual podcasts on each and every category, which you have got a lot of experience on, because I think a lot of categories which I relate really well, and I would like to know more about that, about how's the experience so far. Okay, so now coming back to this question, Oman from UK,
Yeah.
Why?
Okay, I guess, I'm not unique in any way, but I guess there's two parts to my personal journey. One is, of course, a lot to do with what is happening in the West, in America, France, Europe, where things are getting very difficult and sort of hot under the collar for Muslim people. We're not feeling comfortable. Our kids who wear hijab, or our women wear hijab, and things like that. There are challenges now for Muslims, and there is this little amount of uncomfort, that we feel. Some of us are going to wait until something bad might happen, but some are going to look ahead. So one is that I'm sort of a bit more of a future thinker, and I know what's going to happen in Europe, and I think many people are burying their head in the sand, not just economically, but socially. You're on a spiral now of a very serious downward turn. So one has to look for other areas where you feel comfortable. And the second is that I'm sort of a guy who loves frontier challenges. I like pioneering. I like to go into countries that you can see are growing and going places. And I think after we've done our homework, we looked at Morocco, looked at Tunisia, looked at Egypt, looked at Turkey, Malaysia, looked at about half a dozen countries, and did a spreadsheet, did a full analysis on social, economic, political, people. And Oman, for us, as our lifestyle of being conservative Muslims and want to have the value systems that we adhere to us as Muslims, this came on top of the list. So from that point of view, it was purely, this was a good place to live for my value system and those that I hope of my children and grandchildren. But from a business point of view, I think this is probably one of the most underestimated potential economies in the Gulf. I think a lot of people, it's been kept secret, it's been kept sort of under the radar. But if you can get round it, I think this country has incredible potential. Look, it's not Dubai, it's not Abu Dhabi, it's not Qatar, it's none of these. Also, and I don't think it ever wants to be that. I don't think it has a plan to have that sort of activity, that social style. It wants to remain reserved, but the economic potential is there. It is an oil, gas, mineral-rich country. It has vast minerals, it has vast, oil and gas. It's okay, it's expensive. And then on top of that, it has something that no one knows about, that it's the most beautiful country in the GCC or in the Gulf, in the Middle East. I don't think there's anything more beautiful in this region than Oman. It's mountains, it has lakes, it has rivers, it snows in the winter, it has monsoon in the autumn, it has wadis that are beautiful swimming, thousands of miles of pristine turquoise beaches. So what else do you need?
Okay, so Okay, so what do I say? So you have done great homework
Yeah.
before coming. Yeah, so it's not about your gut feeling. It's not about, oh, I
No,
visited Oman once, now I
no,
really like it, I should move. It was based on a very tangible data
yeah,
which
it
you
was.
fetch. Yeah,
It
which you
was an
fetch.
exercise. It was a deliberate, carefully constructed exercise to find all the parameters that make us want to live in a place and that everything met the requirements. Yeah, absolutely. Very scientific.
No, I mean, and this is what I think everybody needs,
Yeah.
because this gut feeling that I like a place, but and I moved there, and after some time that I miss certain things which I should have looked before coming over here. That's what everybody should be doing, because you cannot just base your decisions on emotions, and it's a migration end of
Yeah.
the day,
A
and
lot of
it's
people did this in Turkey, did that gut feeling. It's a Muslim country and I feel it's right. And I'm sure you know, and I know that 8 out of 10 left the country for reasons that it's not right to discuss here for whatever. But that's what happens when you don't do your homework on what matters is the people, the social fabric, and the social value systems. So yeah, you have to do it properly.
yeah. And I would like to add one more factor: this globalization. Everybody needs to understand this globalization. Now it's one country, which is the world, and now you'll have to pick and choose where you want to go, what you want to do. So without understanding all the dynamics, the relationships, the geopolitics, the economies, the COVID, all of that, you cannot make a decision that, oh, I'm going to choose this country, because otherwise you're going to miss out a lot of stuff, and then you're going to end up making a decision which you're going to regret later on. So this is what I also realized, that we need to open up their horizon in order to understand everything, because you don't understand everything. Buying real estate is like a third layer,
Yeah.
or fourth layer. But because if you do not understand that why Oman wants you to come and invest, if you don't understand the why of Oman, if you don't understand why you are picking Oman for your reason, because for some people Oman is a wonderful place, and for some people Oman is not a wonderful
Absolutely.
place, because
Absolutely.
everything cannot suit everyone, right? So you need to understand who you are, and then you need to understand where are you going, and whether it serves your purposes or not. So people need to have got this holistic vision of the whole world and understand these economies before we move in. So I'm really glad to hear that you have done great homework before coming. And I'm a very big advocate of Oman, because I've been doing
Yeah.
this thing for last 13 years, my experience with Oman, and I was like, speechless.
Yeah.
That
You're the de
how
facto ambassador of Oman.
how you have got people like that, how you got a country who does things like that, and it has a list of surprises for you, and you can only surprise yourself if you understand what actually the world is, because you
Yeah.
need to compare it. So yeah, thank you so much for sharing that. I think that was a really insightful thing, and we everybody needs to
Yes.
do that in order to make a better decision for the future. I mean, I was having a chat with a person. We were reviewing a SPA, sales and purchase agreement, and there was obviously different clauses. So in one of the clause, it was written that if a war has happened, if a political instability happened, and all of that, then force majeure, right? So the developer is not responsible for that. And I said, I can guarantee you one thing: we cannot eliminate everything out, but I can tell you that whatever happens, it will going to happen first in the world and last in Oman.
Yeah,
So
that's true.
so at least you'll be safe at that end. That will be you're the last person who gonna, or last country you're gonna experience that,
It's about the
because
neutral as you can get.
I think Oman needs to open a university,
Yeah.
and they start teaching that how to become neutral, how to
Yeah.
utilize your strengths as a country, and how to build a nation who is very humble, down to earth. They don't know how to fight, and and now they are part of this big transformation from a
I think I've travelled and lived in many countries, lots of countries and travel. I think this is one of the only countries I can say that is peace within itself. There's not many countries that are peace within itself. There is peace, but not in its own way. And I think this is very rare that you find a country that's peace at itself. It's unique, and that then sort of filters down to people. So you're right.
Waqar Sahab, it's just like a country which was like covered for last 50 years for a reason, which the last Sultan had got, whatever. So he basically managed to, how would I say that? Managed to protect the people from whatever hate we were, learning and spreading in the world in last 50 years.
Yes.
So this nation is very naive in that. Yeah. And whoever you talk to, even a woman, a Omani woman you talk to anywhere, even on the street, at reception, and the response you get is like, it's a very rare response, and they're very smiling and responding back, and can I help you? Very warm response, which is right now is such a rare thing. And I think even in Western countries, you do not getting these responses anymore, which they used to be. I think long time back they were very warm responses, but not anymore. But Oman still have that. And I tell people, the one thing which is great about the country is itself the people. Yeah. Because if the people are not good anywhere, no matter the skyscrapers you have got and what cars been running on the street, it's nothing. It's all about the people, because the people give you a feeling of closeness, of we are there for you, we can help you. Even if the police will stop you, they were like young kids, they will come over you and say what is happening and all of that. I think I had got one encounter.
I got stopped by the police and I was parked on the road, and he actually was so nice. He goes, "Are you okay? Is everything all right? Anything I can do for you? What's wrong? What's troubling you? Why have you stopped?" So I think you sum it up well. The people, it's what makes this country. It is the people. Number one is the quality of their sincerity, their calmness. They're actually very sincere, and I think you've hit the nail on the head.
Okay. So, to Waqar Sahab, okay, you have chosen Oman, right? Okay, that's done. You have, unpacked that. Why Salalah? Why not Muscat?
I've been in Muscat just under a year and a half, and my plan was to live, work, and do business that we're in finance, real estate, and so forth, in Muscat. It's a capital. There's of course, a lot happens here. What it was that I soon learned that if you understand economics and the dynamics of society, countries or capitals that do really well in that way have some catalyst that creates noise economically, that creates some form of action that happens in a market. Muscat is a very stable capital. It's carries on and got a government. Obviously, the government is based here. Many of the head offices of the companies are based here, the banks and so forth. But it doesn't grow like, there's no sort of dynamic growth like in Dubai. The real estate drives it crazy and millions of dollars and thousands of people come in. That's what makes that country dynamic, the real estate. Now, Muscat is stable. It's a good, simple, straight. But this stability causes its own challenges, that the market becomes stable. There is no movement in the market. So I soon learned that, it's a lovely place to live. It's beautiful. It's calm. It's a bit hot. But when you look at the dynamics of the market, whatever business you're in, there's nothing that triggers its growth. Nothing that actually creates what I call an action in the market. So when you go to Salalah, first of all, Salalah is a cooler climate. It's probably half what's happened there. In the summer, it never reaches more than about 30 odd. Most of the time it's 15, and then in Kharif it becomes rainy, thundery, and very beautiful. The monsoon starts. Now, it's that point that really made me choose it, because when you have a population of 500,000 people in a city, and then during these 4 months around 1 million people come in. That million is quite a large number for a city who's got a population of 500 million. And they trigger activity right across the board, from the guy they're buying popcorn to the buying the villa and everything between. So the retail, the food, clothing, housing, car mechanics, taxi drivers, you name it, it suddenly goes up. Now you might say, well, that's only 4 months in a year. But those 4 months are enough to give it a good kick up the, the backside to really push it. And what that does, that creates wealth. It really creates a lot of cash and money into the economy. Now that money is going to be spent there by those people. So then for the rest of the year, although it's a state market, that money is spent, and people will buy houses, draw up their houses, buy another house, or go out and enjoy themselves, or even shut down for a whole year and come back in Kharif. So it's the economic stimulus, if you like. It's a sort of a natural phenomena unique to this city, that the monsoon triggers economic growth. And you can't, nowhere else in the world can a monsoon trigger economic growth. And I've seen it, that I've met many people in all sectors over the last few months I've been going there. Everybody benefits phenomenally, and it gives them cash. That's the reason I thought what I want to do, particularly in real estate and this sort of sector, it is much more buoyant, much more active, and the values are higher. I think that's what it is.
No, thank you so much for highlighting such a critical point, because you use the right word, trigger. And when you have got these million people coming every year, then obviously it means that once they will see that Oman is growing, they will start to keep coming back, or start investing as well at the same time, and start telling more people that now Oman is open for business. So if you come and visit Salalah, then it will be a great opportunity to explore Oman further. Not only in Salalah, but I think it spreads out to other places in Oman as well.
I think more than half of the people that come are from are rich GCC folk from Bahrain, Qatar, Saudi, Emirates, because the climate's there. They don't want to go to Europe, so they'll spend 3 or 4 months here. So it's not just, it is people with money. And what they do is they like a villa and they can't rent it, they'll go and buy it. They can't rent a car, they'll go and buy the car. They have that sort of liquidity. So that is the trigger that does it. So I think it's unique that a monsoon causes economic development or economic thing.
No, that's great. And I recently read out a couple of months back that the government is planning to have a smart city over there, because now after the new Sultan, they are coming up with these all smart cities, just like Sultan Haytham city in Muscat. So they are planning to have got all these smart cities in all these other cities and towns of Oman. So the next news was about Salalah. So can you tell me a little bit more about this news?
Well, what it is every time I pick up on a number of these databases about real estate, and when I came here a year ago, there was hardly any sort of activity. There's 1 or 2 projects that one was called Havana, which was successful and still going, but there wasn't many projects that were freehold, where people, you and I, foreigners, can buy property. And suddenly, I think in the last 6 months, some that are governmental and some are private, I think I've seen about 12 projects that are, and you can Google them, they're there, from resort types to village types to across the other areas, a whole range of thing. And I think it's the climate and the beauty of the area, where people, and the weather, the temperature, where people are wanting to settle there. I mean, I've met some friends who were based in Muscat, spent a year and said, you know what, the weather's very hot in the summer, we can't enjoy the country for 6 months. So now they've moved, and they're from London. These are people from London, and now they've been there several years and settled. And they're saying, well, look, the opportunities that are now, that these developments are coming up, but if you Google Salalah property development, honestly, there's probably a dozen I could think of, and it's this overseas people that's triggering it. The foreigners want to have freehold assets, or They want to buy somewhere. So suddenly the government and the developers have woken up, and I think some of the Emirati developers are now just announced a couple of projects. So yeah, so obviously Futtaim is in Muscat al-Mujj, but some others the big names have announced in Salalah. So I think they realise that this is a place that foreigners want to live, who have some liquidity. So it's a whole range of things that is making, I think, Salalah the commercial capital of Muscat, if you know what I mean.
And I think this is such an important point, that end of the day, the whole GCC is trying to follow the same path what Dubai used to do, right? And the challenge is the diversification from oil. So if all these countries have got their own developers, and they are trying to explore each and every country, then Salalah will obviously pop up, because it's one of the favorite hill stations of the GCC. So everybody is familiar with Salalah. It's not an unknown territory that, oh, where is Salalah and what. So Oman has been quite popular with that aspect. Plus, as you said, weather is such a critical thing in that region, because
very, very.
I was in Dubai end of July, and yeah, obviously it was hot, and it was really, really hot, and it was I cannot specifically say, in terms of traffic how much it was down, because it was really, really busy during that time. But I visited Dubai last December as well, and it was chock-a-block. In the 6 or 7 o'clock, you open up your Google, and all you see red lines, and then you see 2 hours, 1 hour and 30 minutes, and I do not know actually what, at what time really I reach. So that sort of stuff. So, but this time even it was really busy, but it was super hot, and this is the one thing I think which is bothering the rulers over there, that how we could address it. And in Salalah, God has already addressed it. So that attraction.
Oman is one thing I must say to the government of Oman. They're very good at infrastructure. They have some of the best infrastructure. Even if you go to a small village in the middle of nowhere, there'll be a dual carriageway. What we would call double road, or whatever you want to call it. I don't know what they call it in other parts of the world. In England, we call it a dual carriageway.
Dual carriageway,
unknown that you would be nowhere, and there'll be a fantastic double road, fast, everything, all that sort of stuff. So because of the infrastructure they've created, and they're always developing, they don't sit around waiting for planning permission, they just do it, right? So that infrastructure helps them to then develop these developments along the coast, because the road's already there, everything is there. So and it's a vast area, Salalah. It stretches for hundreds of kilometers as a coast. So there's a lot of space, a lot of choice. And now I think they're controlling it, so they do it well. They do one project, they do it well, make sure it's done before they move on to a next one. So they're learning from others and mistakes that people make naturally when you're developing. But it is becoming a foreigner's preferred place to live, for those that want that simple lifestyle than the rest of the GC. I've seen that. People say, I'm not going into that country or that country or that country, but I'm going to come here.
Yeah, so all the people who are living in their farmhouses or in a very small areas, just like, I live in Swindon in UK, and I love it. And one of the reason of loving it, because it's such a small place.
Yeah.
There are not a lot of people over there. Even the traffic jams are like, 10 minutes, 12 minutes kind of a traffic jam.
Yeah.
So all of these people are going to love moving to Salalah. So that's great. Okay, Waqar Sahab, thank you so much for your time. I learned a lot about that part of Oman, which I always missed somehow. And, in our next podcast, we're going to talk a little bit more about, in terms of real estate. I think we're going to talk about Muria, Havana, Salalah. We're going to talk about that because they are the oldest one, and then what other opportunities are available, and in terms of the opportunities as early bird, how people can capitalize.
Yeah.
Because
there is a lot of opportunity here. There are certain dynamics which are unique to Oman, not just Salalah, is that the cost of doing business and the cost of setting up a business are probably a third of what it is in Europe. So therefore, if you don't have, let's say, £250,000 in England to set up a business, you could do the same thing probably for about £60,000. And it's that cost of labour, cost of setup, cost of infrastructure, which makes it an incredible market if you've got some adventure and you're willing to do some good things. So but we could talk that another time. I'll break it down for you.
Yeah, no, that would be great. I think we're going to talk a lot about it because, we have got this common interest, Oman. So I think we will be talking a lot. Yesterday I was talking to a person and he was from India. And
Okay.
he was saying that India is an emerging market. Oman is is a rich country. So how could you tell me that I can get more out of my investment in Oman as compared to India? I said, before we move forward, I tell you one thing. After 2020, Oman is an emerging market. I just need to correct you because right now this whole GCC is an emerging market because oil is going away. Before 2020, oil was giving them this, this feeling of, okay, everything is sorted. We got a lot of oil. We've been selling the oil all across the world. Everything is hunky dory. But before, even the COVID, Mohammed bin Salman, the new crown prince of Saudi Arabia, he mentioned that we need to diversify. And if Big Brother is telling that we need to diversify, so it means that they are not a rich country anymore. They're in the phase of emerging. So anybody who is thinking that all these GCC countries are rich countries, they need to understand the definition of the emerging country. And right now, I think they are as emerging as possible because the way they are creating the opportunities for everyone across the world, no other country is creating these
Sure. I think
opportunities.
the answer to your Indian friend's question, I'll give you a very, very,
Sure.
very interesting piece of information,
Sure.
which is a game changer. Now, as you know, Trump has slapped a lot of tariffs on around the world, many countries, not just Asia, but in Europe, and it's caused, for example, take India's example, caused a lot of problem because some of them are 50% and this sort of thing. So suddenly, the products that were very easy, that were going to America, whether it's produce or goods or whatever, are now been slapped and become very expensive and no one's going to buy them. Now, there's only one country in the entire GCC, only one country, that has a tariff-free, trade-free agreement with America and EU where you don't have any of that, and the only country is Oman. Right? So if someone, only country in the GCC. So now, if let's say you were growing, let's say onions in India, and now you've got to put tax on them. If you grow them in Oman, for example, the whole world is tariff-free. And the other thing, which is again unique only to this country, is that if you manufacture something or make something here, your customs and excise is done in Salalah, not in America. So if you've made something and in Salalah, then instead of it going there by freight or ship, and then the customs are done and so forth, here in Salalah your customs are done. So your goods have a faster lead time. So this is the country for anybody who's been stuck by tariffs and so forth, is that you manufacture here, you're in a reasonably tariff-free environment. And the customs are done here. And where in the world? There's nowhere like it in the world.
No, you're absolutely right. Thank you so much for sharing such an insightful thing that currently everybody needs to understand this tariff as well, and everybody needs to see that how it's going to affect their business, because in last 6 months, the role of US for rest of the world has changed, and it has changed for good. So now people need to re-understand the world, and they need to explore new partners, and Oman will become a very, what a partner, I would say, in terms of location, in terms of tariff, in terms of facilitation. Plus, they have got the finest ports in the world. Salalah is such a one of the very busy deep port, right? And they have got 𝐷𝐿𝐶𝐿 coming up. They got Sohar as well. So it has got 3,200 kilometers of coastline. So Oman is really good into in the ports business. So it's a great place to trade. It's a great place to build your manufacturing units.
It's a mineral-rich country.
It's a mineral-rich country. Yeah, absolutely.
Every mineral is here. Every mineral you can think of, and more that they don't even know, and that are being discovered daily. and that makes it that it's less dependent on oil. But anyway, look, it's been really lovely to talk to you. I know,
Same here, Waqas. Same here, same here. I learned a lot. Thank you so much for sharing all these insights. And let's have this thing on a regular basis. I think it will gonna really help the people who are exploring different countries to understand whether Oman suits them or not. And this is what we are just trying to do, matchmaking.
Okay.
So,
thank you.
Thank you so much.
See you, and goodbye, everybody, and hope you enjoyed the cast.
Thank you so much.